Live with balanced news you can count on. This is News 4 at 4.
Well, it's that time of the year to start the pruning process around your home, but pruning, just like any other skill, requires knowledge, knowing what you're doing. The old idea that anyone with a chainsaw or some clippers can be a landscape pruner is far from the truth. Our 5-minute gardener, Debbie Mounts from Harlow Gardens, has some tips.
Good afternoon. It is the end of January and it's still cold outside. This is a great time of the year to think about pruning a lot of your trees, particularly your trees that are deciduous, which just means that they lose their leaves in the winter time. The reason for that is that the trees at this time of the year are their most dormant. The sap is not running as strongly. They're not using as much water. They're basically kind of sitting still and waiting for spring to come along. I'm going to give you some tips on how to prune, just some basic information on pruning. There's 3 reasons for pruning. There's pruning for safety, there's pruning for the health of the tree, and there's pruning for the looks of the tree. Safety is if there's a branch in the way, something that may cause injury to somebody, a branch that's broken and hanging down, you want to cut those out. Health of the tree, if there's a disease or bug infestation, you want to cut that out. Aesthetics is basically, we just want to make it look a little bit better. So let me show you, when you decide which branch it is that needs to come out, I'm going to give you the best technique on how to cut that branch safely. There's a 3-cut method. They call it the 3-cut method. And what that means is you make 3 cuts on the branch of the tree in order to keep the tree safe and healthy. One of the things you not want to do with the tree is when you're cutting, if you cut improperly, you can actually peel a lot of the bark off the limb of the tree, which exposes the tree to disease and bugs. So this 3-cut method will help save the tree and help it heal much more quickly. The first thing you want to do, as I say, you do 3 cuts. You come out about 6 inches from where your final cut is going to be, and you do a cut only about this deep, only about this far into the branch of the tree. The next cut you do is one where you take off the majority of the branch of the tree. So that will leave you with this little cut and then a stump here. And then your final cut, you come down here and you cut the rest of the branch all the way off, making sure that you miss this little ridge of bark that's here. It's called a bark ridge, and that you come up above the branch collar, which is basically the bottom of the limb that kind of swells as it joins the tree. So your final cut should be made just smooth right across there. You'll end up with a little bit of a stub, but if you do it properly, the tree will heal beautifully and not cause any damage or open it up to any kind of disease or illness.
And Debbie joins us now. Should a tree be a certain age before you start pruning it?
Yeah, let's assume I was going to plant a young tree today. I have a young little kind of a spindly sapling tree. The most ideal situation would be to wait 3 years before you pruned anything off of it, because every leaf surface on that tree is pulling energy into the tree and building the trunk, building the root system through the sunlight that it garners. So the longer you can wait, the better. But of course, we get a little impatient with how things start to look. So if you can wait, even if you waited a year, that would be helpful. But the longer you wait, the better it is for the tree.
And when you make the cut, should you seal those cuts with some kind of like sap or something?
For many, many years, it was thought that you should absolutely seal every cut with the idea that you prevent any bugs from getting inside that kind of open wound. But what they've decided is that actually that sealing can sometimes slow down the healing process. Have you ever seen a tree stump or a tree that's been cut with a limb and it ends up with this like a rim of wood around it? That's called wound wood. And what that is the tree grows the wood up around that wound.
Kind of like a scab.
Exactly, and closes it in. And that's really what you want to do. And sometimes sealing can slow that process down. So, and there are some trees that need it, but most of the trees, sealing I mean, Most of the trees are the trees from back east.
Okay.
They're not our desert trees that
Right.
absolutely have to be sealed. So generally, you don't need to do that.
Maybe in the weeks to come, we'll talk about pruning other things in your yard, like
Sure.
Is it time for rose bushes yet?
Yes,
Okay,
it is
so
time for roses.
We'll talk about that.
Yes.
Okay.